Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a good night. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. I am here to answer questions. If you have any questions, and in case you're wondering, and I'm gonna probably bring this up a few times because as people come in, they're gonna, some people are gonna say, well, why is he talking funny? What's going on? Why is he different? What's different? Well, what's different is that I decided to make things 100% right with my dental health, and so I decided that I just want to let you guys know you got to take care of your teeth, which I didn't for a long time, but I'm fixing that now, and so I'm in the middle of a 6-week process. This is not the final result. This is the 2nd week of a 6-week process. So if somebody comes in and says, what's going on with his teeth? Why does his teeth look different? Please just answer the question and say he's getting dental work done. Now take your ass to the dentist too. Very important for your health. Your bad dental health can affect a lot of other things. And, I ain't scared to die, but I don't want to die. So does anybody have any questions that you'd like to ask me? If you have questions, and what I'll do is, if I don't see questions, what I'll do is basically go ahead and I'll go ahead and tell you what's on my mind. If you're wondering about the stock market this week, I think this is going to be a good week for the stock market. I think Trump is fine. I think Trump is going to get better. I think he's going to live. I think also this is a moment of reckoning for the virus, and the reason I say that is because before media, they unfortunately they're very biased in terms of Fox News is biased to the right. CNN and MSNBC are biased to the left. They really want you to think the virus is going to kill everybody. And I looked at the data. The data says that 99.9% of us will survive the virus. 99.9% of us will not die from the virus. So what that says to me is that this is actually an opportunity. If you really believe the virus is the biggest threat to people in America right now, then all these Republicans have it. A lot of them are old. A lot of them are fat. I mean, Chris Christie is fat as hell. Some of them have to die. I mean, if a bunch of them die, then it really confirms your fear. If a lot of them survive, if the overwhelming majority of them survive, then maybe that's a dose of reality to let people know that this is not a death sentence. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't be worried about or you shouldn't take precautions. I carry my mask with me wherever I go. I got one right over there. But shutting down the entire economy, it has caused tremendous damage. I know therapists whose offices are overflowed with young people who are trying to kill themselves because they can't handle it. They are overflowed with people that are homeless now. They can't handle it. Domestic violence is up. There's so many other problems that come from us overreacting. And I'm gonna tell you, I think if it weren't an election year, I don't think they would have pushed for the complete shutdown like they have now. So you're kind of in the middle of a coup. That's really what it is. So so I'm saying let's let the chips fall where they may. Excuse me. Trump and the Republicans, they took a risk. Now they have the virus. How many of them are gonna die? If nobody dies, then in my mind it says there's not much to see here. Because, if you look at somebody like Chris Christie, you could take him out with the flu. He don't look like the health. He probably got about 40, 50 pre-existing conditions. That's a big boy. So if Chris Christie survives and all these other Republicans survive, it says something. Now, I know the conspiracy is, well, they get access to the advanced supersonic alien medication. Yeah, okay. Well, people are going to buy into what they want to believe. But I want to believe facts. I want to believe truth. And I really think that media has an incentive to overplay the virus, because if you look at the actual data, it shows that 200,000 people died. That sounds like a big number, but that's a very small number in a country of 330 million people. A more frightening number would be like 10 million. If it were 10 million, that would be 3% of the population. That's a big number. 3 million, 1% of the population, 1 out of 100 people is a big number, but that still means the majority of people are not going to die. Right? So think about this. You have soldiers out here that go to war where 30% of them are expected to die, right? 30%. So I just kind of feel like we need to stop it. Just stop with all the drama and just look at facts and data so that you don't get left behind. Because I'm going to tell you, rich people are getting richer during this pandemic. Rich people, investors are getting richer during this pandemic. China has gained so much power during the pandemic because it allowed them to shut down Hong Kong. It allowed them to say to Hong Kong, stop protesting. You can't protest. We want to keep you safe. So you can't gather in the streets. Now they gain control of Hong Kong. These things are done all the time. This is germ warfare. That's what the hell is this? Germ warfare, germ terrorism. What you do is you don't kill everybody when you're a terrorist. You don't have to. You just kill a small percentage and you make sure that it's widely marketed so that you scare the shit out of everybody else. Same way Massa used to terrorize you on the plantation. He would kill. He'd have one gun with 6 bullets in it and control 200 slaves with 6 bullets. How does Massa control 200 slaves with 6 bullets? Well, you just find the biggest, baddest slave and you kill him. And then all the other slaves will back off because they don't want to be next. And that's pretty much what you're looking at. That's what I'm seeing. That's what it is. Get mad if you want to, but that's what I see. Is it good to do Airbnb rentals in Atlanta or anywhere? I wouldn't try to do it right now. The rules are changing too fast and it's kind of crazy. Are you gay? No. What is the process? The process is that I'm doing some implants and really just doing some overhauls in my mouth. So that's why I sound like I am wearing a retainer. It feels like a retainer. It's like stuff on a roof of my mouth. And they did a lot of work. It was a terrible, well, I won't say terrible. It wasn't fun. But let me give you the good news about the tooth thing. The good news about the tooth thing is, one, I'm going to have a smile like Denzel Washington, which is cool, but it don't matter. So ladies, back up, ladies. I got a woman, black woman, beautiful. I love her. So y'all can't compete with that. Number 2, I have lost 9 pounds because I've been on a liquid diet. Let me just go ahead and tell y'all the benefits of a good liquid diet. I was really nervous. I didn't know what it was going to be like. I was like, man, I like to eat. I like my Skittles and my Twizzlers, and I like to, I like my steak dinner and all that stuff. And I said, how am I going to feel on a liquid diet? And so I became obsessed with just not being hungry. I hate the feeling of being hungry. So I was just taking in everything I could. I was drinking tons of smoothies and getting all kinds of soups. We done tore up the soup aisle. Alicia loves me so much that she actually went on a liquid diet with me. So we tore up the soup aisle and tried all the different soups and smoothies and what else. Everything has to be put in a blender. That's the crazy part. So we're doing this liquid diet, and every day I get on the scale, my weight is lighter than it was the day before. I kid you not. It is a wonderful feeling. So I'm going to have a Denzel smile and a Boyce Watkins body. I don't know, an Idris Elba body. How about that? How about that for an improvement on a black man? I'm very happy. Thank God for black women. Y'all make us better. Well, thank God for the good black women, because y'all know we got some crazy ones on both sides of the aisle. Let's not pretend. Is Tesla a good stock? I like it. I like it long term. I've owned Tesla for a while, and I'm going to own it for a long time. Should all intelligent black men unite to dismantle white supremacy? Yes, we should. Absolutely. Did you get false teeth? Not every tooth in my mouth is real, but but yeah, I have done some stuff with my teeth. What is better, stocks or owning property? I don't think it's an either or. I think it's a both and. It's like saying which is better, to eat your fruits or your vegetables. Well, you probably should eat both, right? You should have a balanced diet. So you should have a balanced portfolio. So I own both. I own property and I own stocks. I did find that there's a lot of income that can be earned. I mean, a really nice premium, a very nice ROI can be earned by buying 100 shares of a stock and writing call options. We actually have an options class in the Black Business School. Go to theblackbusinessschool.com and just ask them for the options class. I think the URL is blackoptionsinvesting.com. Black options with an S. Blackoptionsinvesting.com. And there's a whole class on options and how stock options work. I'm a big fan of writing call options. I'm not a big fan of buying call options. Buying call options is very speculative. It's very risky. That's how people try to make that fast money. But it's selling call options where instead of being the gambler, you're actually playing the house. So I like to sell call options so that I can actually make money from the people that want to gamble. I'm not a big gambler. I don't get a big gambler. I don't gamble with my family's wealth. But I am fine if you want to gamble. Just pay me and I'll let you gamble with my stock if that's what you want to do. So let's see. Do you think Trump has COVID? Yeah, I think it's real. I think he really does. Because there's a lot of, it's not just him. It's a lot of people, right? So I believe that he really does have it. If it was just him and only him, then that'd be different. But it seemed like half the damn Republican Party caught it. And really, if you think about it, right? like they did something that doesn't make any sense. I understand when somebody isn't buying all the hype. You know, Alicia and I have been traveling since the beginning of the pandemic. We were like, okay, plane tickets are cheap. Let's look at data. We get data and facts, but we're different from a lot of people. We're both college professors, so we don't let anybody tell us what to think. We know the dangers of misinformation and propaganda. She's an expert on mind control, so she sees signs of mind control occurring in media, and we talk about that a lot. My expertise is financial psychology, so we're just big on data. We're both statisticians, so we don't really give a shit if Don Lemon tells us to get scared and hide under our bed, or Fox News tells us it's all a hoax. We just take in there all the information, go read up on stuff, and then figure out like what are the odds of this thing going bad. So, for example, we found out from an MIT professor that the odds of catching COVID on an airplane are like 1 in 4,000. We were like, okay, who cares? That's nothing. You have greater odds of getting into a car crash if you get in your car. So, effectively, we're not stupid. I mean, she makes sure I wear my mask. She carries hand sanitizer. Anytime I go in a store or a gas station, pump gas, touch anything, she's like, hey, boys, put your hand sanitizer on. I'm like, okay. And I put it on, you know, or whatever. But I think it's sort of like, it's just mindset. It's what they call risk preference. Some people are scared of everything. Some people don't want to take any chances at all. And they'd rather shut everything down just to be safe. Some people say, you know what? I don't want to shut everything down. I'll just minimize my risk, right? And I'm in that category. I'm just a person that says, you know, just protect yourself. It's like sex, right? Like the easiest way to make sure you never catch an STD is very easy, right? Just never have sex again for the rest of your life. Like never kiss a woman, never kiss a man, never lay down with anybody, never get naked with a person if you haven't known them for at least 20 years, right? And then you'll be safe. You'll never catch an STD for the rest of your life. But do people do that? No, people still have sex. Some people out here raw dogging, right? I wouldn't raw dog, but I mean, I wouldn't call you stupid if you met somebody that you liked and you put on a condom. I would say, okay, you know, you took your chances. You could still catch a disease, but at least you did your due diligence. You know, at least you protected yourself, right? Some people will go have unprotected sex with somebody they just met 20 minutes ago. Kobe Bryant did that. If you remember, Kobe Bryant did that in Colorado. I didn't think Kobe really raped that lady. I felt like that was BS, and even no matter what, there was no proof. And this lady really got around. I mean, she was hustling. She was passing that WAP around. Y'all remember that back in 2004. And the thing about that situation that bothered me was not the accusation, because I don't think anybody can really prove that. And again, like I said, that lady she'd had sex with a lot of dudes that week, and it was unprotected sex. What I had a problem with was I could not understand the logic of a man having unprotected sex with a woman he just met 45 minutes ago, and he's got a wife at home. I know that you know, to me, I'm thinking if you go out here and you do something like that and you give your wife a disease, that's gotta weigh on your conscience. I mean, that's gotta be a horrible feeling, you know. So I think that's kind of how I look at things. Is like, why don't people take precautions? Why don't people prepare for, you know, to protect themselves from the worst? Why do they let the worst happen and then somehow act like Jesus forgot to bless them, or that the devil cursed them, or the white man did it? The white man didn't do it. You just didn't prepare. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. And that's one of the differences, too, that's very fascinating. People think I'm a renegade saying, oh, black people should just run out here to take caution to the wind and throw the coronavirus out the window and act like it don't exist. I've never said that. I've just said that they've got you scared over here when really you should be scared over there. You know, if you recall, just a few months ago, I mean, right now, remember, everybody's talking about black people dying from COVID. Why? Well, because we have the pre-existing conditions. We got the diabetes. We got the obesity, all this other stuff. Well, what was I doing 4 or 5 months ago? I was warning you about the health consequences of allowing white people to mass market obesity, you know, particularly through artists like Lizzo, and telling you that that's body positivity. Ain't nothing body positive about being so sick and so overweight and so obese that you could die from the flu. Seriously. Like, why would you think that it's body positivity for people to inject pre-existing conditions into your body? Like, that don't even make no damn sense. So what I'm trying to say is the world is stupid. I swear to God, I just have to be honest with you. Half the world is stupid. People will put you in a stupid, vulnerable situation, and then they'll scream and holler because you were victimized. And I'm the guy who says, no, don't put them in stupid situations, and then they won't be victims. But there are people that I believe profit from black victimhood. There are people that profit from black trauma. They love talking about how horrible it is to be black, all these terrible things that have happened to you. Billy can't read. Well, I'm the guy who says, well, who the fuck were Billy's parents? And why did Billy... if you do the math, let's do the math real quick. I'm going to do some math. And by the way, if you want to know, if you just came in late and you want to know why I'm talking funny, it's because I'm getting my teeth fixed. So don't say a bunch of stupid stuff in the chat because we're trying to focus here. So if you add it up, right, there's 24 hours in a day, 8,760 hours in a year. If you multiply that by 18... that means Billy had 157,680 hours to fucking learn how to read. 157,680 hours from the age of 0 to the age of 18. So basically, the people responsible for Billy had him for 157,000 hours and didn't even take the time to teach him something that he probably could have learned in less than 1,000 hours. Somebody fucked up. Somebody screwed Billy over. Billy needs to sue somebody for malpractice, maybe starting with his mama and his daddy. So, my position is, rather than allowing people to make you victims and make you powerless and then profit from your victimhood, how about this? How about you engage in a little bit of preventative maintenance? Seriously. It's like the healthcare industry. My friend asked a very basic question. She said, why is it that doctors... they want you to go to the hospital so you can get all this medicine so you can counter the effects of any illness that you have, but they spend no time telling you how to prevent the damn illness in the first place? Well, it's because you live in a capitalist society that will basically position you to screw yourself, and then you can pay them to get yourself unscrewed. So if you're smart in life, if you're really smart in life, the number one way to solve almost any problem is to think and prepare and prevent the problem from occurring in the first place. If you prevent the problem from occurring in the first place, then you have nothing to solve. Let me keep going. By the way, speaking of that, I think I was thinking about this stuff because I was reading Powernomics today. Dr. Claude Anderson and I are doing a masterclass on Powernomics. If you want to join us, just go to powernomicsmasterclass.com. It starts on October 15th. powernomicsmasterclass.com. Use the code word Black Panther, all one word, Black Panther, and I believe you can get 30% off. So feel free to use the code word Black Panther at powernomicsmasterclass.com. Somebody please type that in. The videos that you posted are hilarious. Thank you, Kevin. It's not a pandemic at all. No, it's not. They actually, I think they took the word pandemic off the CDC website, in case you're wondering. I'm not sure. I got to double check, but I didn't see it anywhere, and I remember somebody mentioned it. I looked for it. I didn't see it. So it's not. Because because they keep telling you about how many people are gonna die if we don't do this and don't do that, but that's never happened. They're sort of living off this possibility that all these terrible things are gonna happen, but they haven't occurred. And some people say, well, it's because we're social distancing. Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna argue with you. What do you think about school vouchers? Do they hurt or help blacks as a whole? I think that they help. Here's the thing. The thing about vouchers and the thing about public schools to me is this. None of us is anti-public school, right? In theory, the shit's supposed to work. Here's the problem. You done gave them like 50 years to fuck up your children. Like, you've given them 50 years to make the shit work out. How many of you would be in a relationship with an asshole of a person for 50 years, and for the whole 50 years they're lying to you, stealing from you, raping you, cheating on you, and promising you that next month is going to be better, that if you give them another chance, everything's going to be okay, that baby, please let me back in the house, I promise you I'll never do it again. How many of you will stay in that relationship for 50 years? That's how I feel about the Democratic Party. See, the thing about the Democratic Party, people wonder why I'm so mad at the Democratic Party. I'm mad at the Democratic Party because I used to be in love with the Democratic Party. I'm mad at the Democratic Party because they broke my damn heart. I was all about the Democrats. I really was. But I mean, at what point, how much do they have to fuck up your whole community before you say, maybe we need to try something different? Like, are we really that stuck on stupid to the point where we'll just continuously repeat ourselves over and over again? Maybe we deserve to be oppressed then. Maybe stupid people deserve to be oppressed. I don't know. Maybe that's the survival of the fittest. I don't know. Seriously, 19 of the 20 most dangerous cities in America a lot of them are majority black, and all of them are run by Democrats. I think every one of those cities is run by Democrats. So I'm sitting there saying, okay, our cities are incredibly violent, run down, torn down, economically we haven't advanced, educationally we're getting screwed, Not one single child. They tested 13 schools out of 30, out of about 35 or 36 in Baltimore. Out of all those 13 schools, a third of the schools in Baltimore, not one child was proficient in reading. Well, not one child. They couldn't find one single child that could pass the reading test. I don't really want you educating black children ever again. I don't want you around them. I don't want you nowhere near my fucking kids. Why in the hell do I want you educating my kids when you can't even teach the basics? But yet you're going to make sure everybody knows that Billy might have two daddies. You know, you're going to make sure everybody's indoctrinated into your ideologies, because that's what schools are. Schools are indoctrination factories. Universities too. Mind you, you're talking to a guy who taught at major universities for 25 years. I'm not speaking on something I don't understand. I taught at the University of Kentucky, Indiana University, Syracuse University, the Ohio State University. I taught in China. I taught in Europe. I'm not a stupid man. I'm not right about everything, but I've got to be right about something. My opinion is at least worth hearing. Universities, unfortunately, are indoctrination factories where they spend as much time indoctrinating you into a worldview as they spend actually educating you. And the problem for black people, and the reason why I think you should get as far away from some of these institutions as possible, or at least take it with a grain of salt, get what you need and then bounce, is because they are not teaching you any of the skills that you need to be a successful black person. Not one. None. Hardly any. They're teaching you one basic thing. And besides the indoctrination, so that you can be a good citizen, right? So you can fit in, right? So you'll be a good Democrat or whatever the hell you want to be. But also, they're teaching you how to be a good employee. They're building a better slave. Their job. If you know what's funny is I was watching. Alicia and I love Star Trek, and I don't know if anybody else watches Star Trek. There's a show called Deep Space Nine that's pretty cool. And I started watching it because I was trying to connect with members of my family. Let me give you a secret. If you want to connect with somebody, observe them, watch what they love, and then try to see if you can love the thing that they love. And then you'll have something to bond around, something to connect on, something to talk about. And I did that with every single person in my house, and it worked like a charm. The 17-year-old loves video games, so I got into video games. She loves video games and cars, so I started studying that. The 13-year-old, she loves anime. So I started looking up anime, and I got her some anime shirts and all that. That gave us something to talk about. The 10-year-old loves TikTok. So she has been my TikTok coach. And Alicia loves Star Trek Deep Space Nine because there's a black captain and he had a black wife and they have this beautiful black love affair and she's a romantic. I'm not a romantic. I'm not, like she's a girly girl and I'm not a girly girl. I'm not a girl at all. And so I have to work a little bit. But I did. So anyway, we're watching Deep Space Nine, and there's this group of people. They're called the Jem'Hadar, and the Jem'Hadar are basically these people that were created. They were created by what they call the founders. The founders are these people who genetically designed the Jem'Hadar to do two things: to fight for them, and also to be addicted to a drug that only they control. So without this drug, the Jem'Hadar will die, and they can only get this drug from the people they call the founders. They're creators, almost like they're gods, created them, and they taught them to do two things: to defend them and to depend on this drug. That's how they control them, was with the drug. So I said, well, ain't this a bitch? They're basically talking about black people. I said, because at one point, the Jem'Hadar, they start to try to rebel against their gods. They start, they form like a little rebellion. And they're like, they're supposed to be our gods, but they never talk to us. They never care. They don't care about us. They only care that we serve them and that we protect them, right? But they don't care anything about our well-being. Right? And I said, that sounds like black people in the Democratic Party, or black people and white people. We are white supremacists. We are designed genetically to be white supremacists, and we are addicted to drugs that they control. The number one drug they have you addicted to that they control is the drug of money. Money operates in the brain similar to crack cocaine. Professor Andrew Lowe from MIT did a study and showed how when you receive money or don't have enough money, it affects the same region of your brain as if you were on a drug. That's why you get happy when you get money and you're sad when you don't have enough, right? Anybody know what I'm talking about? When you ain't got enough money, when your money ain't right, you get real depressed and real grumpy. When your money's real right, you get real confident and real happy, right? Well, basically, they control you economically. And then they also train you to do what these Star Trek characters did, which is to basically defend their masters, right? So a lot of us will defend the master till the death. We will defend whether we love, Biden or Trump, will defend that to the death. We'll lose black friends over Biden or Trump. I don't care if you vote for Biden or Trump or anybody else. Just don't be out here losing no friends over these people who don't care nothing about you. I don't understand that. And then also, they control you economically. If white people stop supporting a lot of you, you have no way to survive. And they don't train you to survive on your own because they don't want you to be independent. Because nothing bothers them more than an independent Negro. Trust me, I know how pissed off people get, and they try to cancel me. Somebody said, well, Doc, they're going to cancel you if you keep talking crazy. I said, they can't cancel shit up in this house. The only person that can cancel Boyce is me. I'm the only person who controls that switch. Right? Like, I'm sure they're like, who is this Negro's boss? Who does this Negro work for? We're going to control him by finding out who this Negro works for. Bill O'Reilly did that stuff back in 2008 when I worked at Syracuse. It was a big deal. And I said, no, my employer is my stock portfolio. My employer is the bonds and stocks I own. It's the real estate I own. That's my employer. That's my boss. Right? That's who pays my bills up in here. Not you, not an employer, whatever. And that was by design. Because at the end of the day, you know, when you talk about white supremacy, basically that's what it is. From the time you're born, you're designed, just like those Star Trek characters, you're designed to be wired in and integrated into a system and to be dependent on that system. They're not sending you to school to teach you how to quit your job and start a business. They're sending you to school to teach you how to get a job and depend on that job. They're not sending you to school to teach you how to go become an asset to the black community. They're sending you to school to teach you how to become an asset to the white community. They don't send you to school so you can go out here and buck the system and create new systems. They send you to school so you can be indoctrinated to learn how to appreciate and to love the system. That's what you're seeing really when you see some of these poor black folks on TV, so-called black leaders, black commentators, etc., who say stuff that don't make no damn sense. Even they can't justify the bullshit that's coming out of their mouth, but they're repeating it because they've been hypnotized properly to repeat the talking points. It might be for the Democrats, it might be for their favorite corporation, or whatever. That's exactly what's happened. This is all by design. Dr. Claude Anderson does a good job breaking it down in Powernomics. By the way, I want to do another public service announcement. If you're wondering why I'm talking funny, it's because I'm in the middle of a 6-week dental procedure, and so I'm taking care of my teeth. So I encourage everybody. I'm talking about this publicly because I'm encouraging everybody to take care of your dental health because it's very important for your family and for your future. What do you think about the Gloria Bambo situation in Texas? I know nothing about that. I will look that up. What does reparations look like to you? Reparations could start with a check. It would start with a $13 trillion plan that would involve tremendous amounts of support for black businesses. Maybe a multi-trillion-dollar fund where the money can only go to black businesses, not people of color, not minorities, not LGBT, black people, period. Black communities, that's it. Maybe it would start with creating clear pathways to home ownership for black people. I'm going to tell you like this. One of the reasons why I was really happy that Ice Cube came on to drboycetv.com is that, you know, Ice Cube and his team, when they put together the contract with Black America, it was really well done. They really hit on a lot of key points that I think you may want to take a look at. And the reason I like the contract is not because they necessarily covered every single problem black people have. I don't know. I can't. We have so many problems. It's hard to come up with it, figure out everything. But they covered the important shit. They covered the really heavy stuff that I know as a scientist, as an economic scientist that has studied power, that has studied wealth. I know that if they took the time to read it, which Biden did not, by the way. Trump, I'm going to just give y'all full disclosure. Trump's people were very interested in Powernomics. When I talked to Kanye West, Trump's people really want to know, like, okay, what do black people want? But that's how the Republicans roll. The Republicans tend to be interested in business and economics, right? But they're not so into the social stuff, right? The Democrats and the left are more into the social things. Like, we want you to feel good about yourselves, and we want, you know, they talk about the police issue, which we know is an issue, but it's deeper than just police shootings. It goes into mass incarceration. Like I shared you guys that video. A lot of people got mad at me for sharing it, but this is what Joe Biden said when he was calling black people super predators and talking about all these kids from single parent homes and how we got to take them out of society. He said 100,000. He said there's 100,000 kids like this that are coming from these single parent homes that have no values, We got to do something. We got to take them out of society. That was extermination talk. That was similar to kind of how Adolf Hitler talked about the Jews. Adolf Hitler didn't say, I don't like that one guy over there, let's go get him, right? Adolf Hitler said, how do we take hundreds of thousands of these people off the streets? So when I look at what Biden was saying about black kids, because, you know, when they're talking about kids from single parent homes and all that in the hood, you know, they're talking about a lot of our kids, right? I'm hearing extermination talk. I'm hearing that, you know, a man say, I want to take all the industrial might. The United States is the greatest industrial power on earth, or one of the top three. I want to put all the industrial might that we put into defeating the Germans in World War II, and I want to put all that industrial might, all that manufacturing power, all that massive wealth, all these powerful systems behind one idea, and that is to eliminate the young black male from America if he is not adequately indoctrinated or if he does not fit into our system, right? So that to me is something that requires a broad systematic solution. But really the truth is that they probably owe us a couple $1 trillion in reparations just for that. Just for this war crime of engaging in an effort to do mass extermination of black men, which destroyed millions of black families. Little children grew up without their daddies because of what Joe Biden did. That's why I feel passionate about it, and you're not going to get me to backpedal off of that. The reason I think people may not get what I'm saying, and it's okay for them to disagree. They don't get what I'm saying probably because maybe they're not old enough to remember what it was like growing up in the 90s, where black men were being shot up and locked up for any damn little thing, where literally but for making one phone call to a friend that was slinging dope and you didn't even know it, you could go to prison for 50 years. That's a reign of terror. Like the coronavirus don't scare me. That shit scared me because that shit was sweeping through the black community faster than the coronavirus. Like, everybody had a cousin getting locked up, shot up, going to prison, getting beat up. I heard a story just today of a young brother I know, 18 years old, on his way to college, got locked up for some stuff where the trial was still underway. They put him in jail. The guys smashed his face into the toilet with shit in it. They beat the shit out of him, beat him so bad that his face is completely disfigured. His mother did not recognize him. He talks with a stutter now. He can't even talk, and they broke his hip, and there's a good chance they may have raped him. This is the kind of nightmare that men and women are going through in prison, and Joe Biden and Bill Clinton played a direct part in the creation of that process. So I'm not saying that you can't go forgive and forget. Negroes are some of the most forgiving people on earth. You can forgive all you want to, but just know when you show up to Forgiveness Fest because somehow they got you caught up in whatever Trump is doing to the point where you'll forgive anything for anybody, I'm not going to join you in that party. I'm not participating. I'm never going to forgive that. Ever. Ever. So let me keep going. You might think I'm crazy. Well, maybe I am. This shit makes you crazy. It's very traumatic to be black. It's very traumatic to go through some of the shit that we go through. So maybe I am a little bit crazy, but I wear it with a badge of honor. I wear it like a badge of honor. Okay, so let me keep going. They have better health care than regular folk, probably. Chris Christie gonna need all the health care they can give because that dude, that's a fat son of a bitch right there. I need to talk to him about the liquid diet I've been on since I got my teeth fixed. That's why I'm talking funny for anybody who just came in who doesn't know why. I got stuff going on with my teeth, and the liquid diet really works. So Chris Christie, if you're watching, get your fat ass on a liquid diet because you're looking ridiculous right now. Do you think vaccine stocks will be hot this week? Maybe some of them, but not all of them. It's like a lottery. Some of the stocks are going to do well. Some of them aren't. It depends. If you have scaled your business this year, what recommendations do you have to pick up major clients? Learn from other businesses that are picking up major clients. And then if you have to pay money, maybe pay a few $1,000s to learn from somebody who really knows how to do it. I think that's better than college. Bill Myers says it's been a coup. Yeah, it's a coup. That's what it is. What do you think will happen in the stock market if Trump takes a turn for the worse and gets sicker? If he gets sicker, the stock market is going to get sicker. Just be ready for that. If you're a long-term investor, it won't matter. But if you're trying to see what's going to happen next week, I think he's going to be okay. I think the market's going to do better. He's going out of his way to show these signs of strength. But then again, you never know. Maybe he's really sick and maybe he's just going to be dead by the end of the week, in which case all hell breaks loose. and then we're dealing with a new reality. But then hell breaks loose, stock prices fall. These are still the same companies. They're still worth the same. They still have the same, future cash flows for the most part. So maybe that's an opportunity to buy. See, the beauty of the stock market, what I like about it, and again, this is, I speak on this from a certain perspective, right? That's what I wrote my dissertation on. I taught college students for many years on this stuff. So when you have a PhD in finance, you see things on almost a molecular level. Like it's not like I hear people talk sometimes, and they'll say, well, I can teach you all about the stock market, because I bought stocks or because I used to be a stockbroker and stuff like that. And I'm not saying those people don't know anything. I'm just saying that there's a science behind all of this and how this works. And there's a lot of data that I've seen through the years in terms of academic research. Like I can tell you what happened in the stock market in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I can tell you what happens with small stocks, large stocks, cross sections of stocks in different industries, things like that. And one thing I can tell you for sure is that consistency is just super important. The ability to kind of see what's going on, but only react to the things that really matter is really an important part of just being successful at anything. You got to know when the real crisis comes or when the real opportunities emerge, but you can't just sort of flinch and move with every situation. So just know that, if the market goes down, that's an opportunity. If the market goes up, that's an opportunity. It's always an opportunity. You just have to reposition yourself based on what the market's giving you. It's like football. I don't know if anybody's a football fan or basketball fan. If you know anything about football, you'll know that when you're trying to go down the field, the defense always gives you something. And if you're a good coach, you can see what they're giving you and you take what they're giving you because they can't cover everything. Right? They're always giving you something. So the market's always giving you something. You just have to know where it is. So let me keep going. Is Tesla, okay, you asked about Tesla. How can I fix my credit myself for free? You could do some Google research on it and figure out what the components of a good credit score are. A lot of your credit score is based on whether you pay on time. Also look up the credit, I think, what's it called? I forgot what they call it. It's like a bill of rights for credit for people, for debtors. The Fair Credit Reporting Act, I believe that's what it's called. So maybe you can question some things on your report. And also in the Black Business School, if you go to the blackbusinessschool.com, they might be able to make some recommendations on some stuff you could take a look at. I was trapped in that system for too many years. Yeah, we need to get out of that system. I just think that's the solution for black people. It's not that hard to be free, safe, and successful as a black person. It's just not. I mean, even if you talk about, for example, and I'm going to say this, and I hope I can say it and still be loved. People are going to get mad at me. But you probably can't name anybody who was shot by the police who was in a good situation, like economically and otherwise. I'm not saying it's their fault, right? We know it's not their fault. We know police are corrupt. But I'm saying that there's some people that are more vulnerable than others, right? Like you'll never hear that Nuri Muhammad from the Nation of Islam was shot by the police outside a liquor store or whatever. You're never going to hear that story because Nuri Muhammad makes decisions in his life that will never put him in a vulnerable situation. Most importantly, he's got other brothers from the Nation of Islam that'll be around him. Cops ain't gonna mess. Cops know they pick off the weak. They pick off the weak. They go after the people who don't have the strategic mind or don't have the preparation or maybe they're drunk or high. Like go look at some of the shootings and ask yourself, how many people were drunk or high when this went down? I'm not saying that means anybody deserves anything bad to happen to them. It just means you're dealing with a predator. You're dealing with a predator, and the way predators think is predators go after the weak. So the reason that it's easy to prey on the black community is because we have a lot of people that are trained to be weak, and they let you swim in your weakness because they want to make money by saving you. They let you swim in your mediocrity. They don't care if your kids can't read. They want your kids to be stupid and illiterate. So then they can go and make money by saying, if you vote for me, then I'll make sure that your stupid illiterate kids can survive, right? And so I'm a believer in, and this is why I'm not going to be a fit for everybody. Not everybody's going to get my style because victimhood is an addiction. It really is an addiction, and it's forced on you at an early age. I spent 25 years in that space, a lot of years really thinking only about the fact that I was a victim as a black man, which is incredibly emasculating, by the way. It puts a real limitation on your possibilities. Even when I was watching the Joe Biden campaign ad, I was not inspired by it because all they kept talking about was all the things they were going to protect me from, all the ways I could be victimized, and all the ways they're going to protect me from being a victim. You know, black people go through this, we're going to protect you. Black people go through that, we're going to protect you. I'm like, yeah, but tell me about some possibilities in my life. Tell me how, you know, tell a young black man how he can become a millionaire if he works hard and builds a good business. Talk to that young black girl about all the wonderful things that can happen with her if she builds a great family and makes good choices in her life. Give her power. Empower her with knowing that your life is a car and you are the driver. You can't control everything that's on the road, but you do control the steering wheel. And you can also control the quality of that car, right? So you can't control everything that's going to be driving at you. You might run into a drunk driver. You might get on a bad road, but you control the wheel. You get to build the car. I relate to that a little bit better than this whole doom and gloom thing, because I can tell you, I can just basically, and I hope you will agree with me, if you give me any black person in America, and you know, again, even with all the racism and all this, y'all know how white folks do, give me any black person in America, do you think that if they did exactly what you and I talk about on this podcast, that their children could be successful? Or do you think they're doomed to fail no matter what? Do you think they're just doomed to die from coronavirus or from a police shooting? Do you think they're just doomed to have 8 babies, mamas, and no ability to take care of them? Do you think they're doomed to have 5, 6 kids from 5 or 6 dudes and live on welfare? Do you think they're just doomed to be unemployed based on whether the white man decides if he's hiring or not? I mean, do you think that they're just doomed to fail? Or do you think that maybe teaching our people and our children how to avoid landmines and make good choices might actually make a difference? I know plenty of successful black people. They didn't grow up with silver spoons in their mouths. A lot of them grew up in the hood. Some of y'all in the chat, say yes, say something in the chat if you're one of those people that grew up dirt fucking poor, went through all kinds of shit, and just embraced personal responsibility and made good choices and pulled yourself out of that shit. Raise your hand if you're in that category. I think it's important to highlight that, because when people take away your power, that's how they control you. The easiest way for me to control you is to convince you that you shouldn't have control. The only way I can get control of your steering wheel is if you take your hands off the wheel. If we both have our hands on the wheel, we're going to be confused. We're going to crash the car. So I need you to take your hands off the wheel so I can drive the car so that we can go where I want to go. And that's pretty much what they do. And that's why there are people that really benefit from disempowering you, because it makes them more powerful. Because then when you're afraid, you look to them and say, okay, boss, what you going to do to protect me? Right? That's a very dangerous place for a black person to go. I'm just going to tell you, psychologically speaking, very bad decision in my belief. Hit the thumbs up button, by the way. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. And if you want to ask again, a quick reminder, I'm talking funny because I'm in the middle of a long dental process and I'm trying to have some dental health. So go to the dentist if you haven't done it, because we all got to take care of our teeth. Is it a good time to buy rental property with eviction moratorium going on? I wouldn't do it. I bought some rental property right before COVID, and I'm not buying anymore for a little bit. Let's see here. Will they use the cannabis stocks? Will they use them to help relieve the economy? They're doing okay. I think if the If Biden gets elected, I think cannabis stocks will probably benefit from that. Leave them soups along salt and preservatives. Yeah, that you're so right. The real capitalists. I really totally. I saw the sodium in the soups, and we talked about that today. So I'm gonna try to find some stuff that's like sodium free or something. Let's see here. Watch the sodium. Wow, everybody's mentioning sodium. Thank you. What do you think about Carnival stock? I own a lot of it. Walmart, is that a good stock? I own a lot of that. No, he don't smoke weed. No, I don't. I don't do any mind altering substances. Because a black man that wants to be ready for war should not be altering his mind and putting himself in a vulnerable position. So I don't drink. None of that. Because I just think that's not, I mean, if I'm going to get shot or locked up, it's going to be when I'm fully alert, where I can make sound decisions. What Malcolm X used to say, the white man will sell you the liquor bottle and then he'll lock you up for being drunk. That's what Malcolm X used to say. So he was warning black men about getting into alcohol and drugs a long time ago. They destroyed your whole community by dumping drugs in your community. If those children had been raised in an empowered environment where they would say no to the dope man, drugs never could have infiltrated that community. Drugs have a harder time infiltrating communities that have strong families. So that's why the destruction of the black family was such a critical element to the destruction of the black community. Now what you're seeing with Kamala and Joe Biden is you're seeing an appeal to the fact that your community has become more feminine. Your community is a fatherless community. So Biden's like, well, I'm going to be daddy now. The white man going to be daddy. Doug Emhoff, Kamala Harris's husband, is a white man. Joe Biden is a white man. These white men are saying, we're going to go to these fatherless Negroes, and we don't have to fucking talk to the black man. Fuck the black man. We're going to go talk to the women and the children. That's what we're going to get the women, the black women, right? And that could be a bad strategy because they're claiming that Biden needs 90% of the black vote in order to win. A lot of brothers ain't playing that shit. You don't understand. Simultaneously, while they're appealing to the broken community, the fatherless community, you're seeing a reemergence of black manhood. You're seeing a reemergence of the black father, a reemergence of black masculinity. And that's why, so when I'm talking to guys like Ice Cube or David Banner or whatever, there are millions of men who are looking at this and saying, okay, that's what I want to do. Right? Part of the reason I have no fear whatsoever, not 1 ounce of hesitation to come tell you what I think manhood looks like, is because I know that the men are listening, and I see what you guys are doing in your families. I see what you're doing in your communities. And my number one goal every day when I'm talking to you is to do 2 things. One, I want black women to feel loved and appreciated, because we need to do a better job at that. First of all, hip hop sent us in the wrong direction, and we got to stop that shit. And daughters and stuff need to be protected. But then number 2 is to really, really create an insane, ridiculous, almost infinite and unstoppable amount of courage, ambition, and desire in the black man. Like, to the point where you're literally maniacal about your own possibilities. Like, you have no doubt that you can go out here and conquer the world. Because I'm a believer that unstoppable confidence can help you break through a lot of shit. There's a lot of the little shit. Most of the time, the things that slow us down when we're not sure, because we're like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't do it. I don't know what's going, or maybe if I do this, it's going to go bad. You're hesitating, right? Because you're thinking about all the things that can go wrong. But when you get that bull in the china shop mindset, where you just don't give a fuck and you just keep moving no matter what, it's like the whole universe opens up to you, because very few of these tiny ass little problems can't be fixed with more audacity. Just, if you fuck up, just keep going. Like, just have faith. Just know, like, okay, this may not work out. Confidence is not when you move forward because you know for sure it's going to work. Confidence is when you move forward saying, well, it might not work out, but I'm strong as fuck, so I can recover. I can fix it. And whatever it is, we're gonna work through that too. That's what I think you want to really look for. And that's what I encourage. Like, really figure out who the hell you want to be and what you want out of life. And just balls through, just go for it, man. Because I believe that if you just kind of go for it, and like millions of us are thinking this way, like if this becomes our new system, our new culture, our new way of approaching everything, we can't be stopped. Because think about this, right? It's energy. It's just like energy, right? In the universe. The thing that has the most energy usually wins all throughout the universe. When you go to the universe, you got planets, and then you got moons. You got tiny moons that rotate around the planets, and then you got planets that rotate around the sun, and then you got the sun that rotates around a big giant black hole. Well, everything's rotating around the stuff that has more energy than that, right? Than they do, right? So the planets rotate around the sun because the sun is like, I'm here. The sun ain't got to tell nobody to do nothing. He ain't got to ask nobody's permission. The sun is not like, hey, y'all, I want y'all to follow me. Come on, y'all, please. Come on, y'all. Black Lives Matter. No, the sun is like, I'm just shining, bitches. I'm here. Fuck all of y'all. If you're in my space, this is how things are going to happen. And everybody gets in line because they're weaker than the sun. Because the sun has the most energy. So typically that happens with human beings. The person with the most energy usually dictates any interaction. If you go in a room and you got a bunch of shy, weak little people, and one person comes in like, okay, here's what's going to happen, and here's how we need to do this, that person is going to control the whole dynamic. Like our 13-year-old is like that. Our 13-year-old is super smart. She's super confident. And we would watch her even when she was little. And we just found it fascinating that little kids would just follow her. She would just be like, no, you sit over there. You come over here. No, back up. Wait, no. We're going to ride bikes now. And they would all go ride bikes. So, okay, I'm tired of riding bikes. Now let's get on our skateboard. They will all get on their skateboard. And it's because she just has that it factor. She's the alpha female. right? So I think that in our black community, we do have men and women as well. It's not cutting out the ladies at all, but this is like a more a man conversation because we got to repair the black man. If we repair the black man, then ladies, you would be happy about this, right? Because these are better men to have in your house, better teammates, right? Women don't want the man who's like all like feeling like, oh, well, you know, if the white man gives me an opportunity, I can go accomplish something. If the white man is hiring, I can get me a job. It's so hard out here without the white man. I just don't know what to do. You don't want that, right? I mean, most women, I know my woman doesn't want that. She doesn't want that. She doesn't want me sitting next to her sharing tampons and hot tea, crying with a glass of wine over how bad the white man treats me. She wouldn't respect me if I was doing that. In fact, it's so deep in her subconscious, she probably wouldn't even know that she doesn't respect me. She would just, for some reason, she'd say, I'm just not attracted to you. Right? So ultimately, I really just think that kind of awakening that, and it starts with really a lot of self-love. Like, you have to love your community, love your family, but you also got to love yourself. If you really love yourself, then you're not going to be ashamed of yourself. Like, if you really love yourself, you'll be proud of yourself, even if you mess up. Even if you're not perfect, even if you're flawed in some way. I know I'm flawed. I know that I am a guy who says things that pisses people off. I know I'm a guy who is talking right now who's halfway slobbering because with the dental work, I can't even talk right. Like, what the fuck am I doing talking to you on the internet right now with my teeth not quite where they need to be, where y'all making fun of me, calling me Mr. Ed? I see you, Joe, just making fun of me. Like, is that you, boys? Hey, you look like a clone. Or what happened to his teeth? Well, you know what? Fuck you and fuck your comments because Boyce is here, goddammit, and he ain't going nowhere, ever. The day I disappear is the day my casket drops. When that happens, that's what's going to stop me. But guess what? By that time, I will have done so much damage to white supremacy that they'll never be able to kill me because I know I got 2, 3, 4, 5 million soldiers that are paying attention to what I say, and you're going to carry that energy and you're going to pass it to your children, which means that it ain't about me even doing my job. I've already done my job. I could die right now, tomorrow, which I would not be afraid to die tomorrow. I could die. I found out when I was getting my surgery, my blood pressure spiked and all, and I was like, ooh, I could have died. But then I was like, oh, well, I don't care. I done did my job, right? I could die tomorrow, and that impact will never go away. They can't stop that shit. They can't. So my dream right now, Martin Luther King had a dream, I got a dream. My dream right now is that the thing that I'm feeling, the drug that I'm on, the drug of black power, the drug of self-love, the drug of excitement and enthusiasm, my dream is that we all get hooked on that drug. That we all get hooked on this drug that says, I love myself and I love my people and I love blackness so much that nothing's going to get in the way of that, and I don't care what you think about anything that I do or say or whatever. Like, I really, like, that would be my dream, to have millions of people just going out and just being you and being the best version of you that you can be. Like, doing the absolute best that you can at whatever it is that matters to you, and winning, and just knowing that you can win. And even if you don't win, knowing that you can eventually win, you just got to keep on trying. Don't be scared. Seriously. So anyway, let me keep going. Let me read some more of your questions. All right. By the way, do me a favor, guys. Hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. On Instagram, my Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. And also a reminder, Dr. Claude Anderson and I start our Powernomics class on the 15th. If you want to join, go to powernomicsmasterclass.com. That's powernomicsmasterclass.com. Let's see here. Let's see. It don't fit. It's like he's talking fast, so they don't fall out. Nah, they're not going to fall out. These are my teeth. Let me see here. Y'all going to talk about the teeth for another mouth. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Some people can't focus. That's okay. That's life. I'm in the middle of a 6-week dental procedure, so fuck it. It's going to happen. My son's father used to say he had an addiction to money. Interesting. Okay. Let's see here. They're too damn distracting. Then fuck you. You can leave. They can't cancel you. No, they can't. I mean, if you work for yourself, nobody can cancel you. Cancel culture, that's built around the basic premise that black people work for white people. That's what cancel culture is all built around. And I figured that out 15 years ago. I realized that the number one impediment to my freedom as a black man is that most of us are trained to go work for white people. When I figured that out, I said, okay, so my job is to get off the white man's dope. Like, to find a way to, even if I'm getting paid from white people, let's say I was working with white people, I wouldn't work for the same white guy. I wouldn't have one white guy controlling the keys to my whole set of possibilities, right? Or when I was in academia and I was doing all that black talk in Syracuse University, they were giving me a hard time and telling me, you know, if you keep doing this, we're gonna have to let you go, or whatever it was, right? Because they're a bunch of bigots. I mean, that's pretty much been proven. Syracuse is a very racist school. I had to figure out, like, okay, what am I gonna do if I get blackballed? And it sucked because I spent all those years getting my PhD. I was the only African American in America, anywhere, or even on Earth, really, to get a PhD that year in finance. That year in finance, nobody else that I know of, no other African American got this degree. So I thought that was my path to success. I thought I was hot shit. I thought my road was paved. I thought I could write my own ticket, but I couldn't write my own ticket. You can't write your own ticket if the white man is the one actually signing the damn ticket. Like, that's not your ticket. That's his ticket. He's deciding if he wants to give it to you. But I didn't know that at the time. And so when I started speaking really pro-black, I started learning the difference between what white people say they want and what they actually want. So they were telling me, they did something they call scholarship in action, where they were saying, we want our scholars to engage in the debates of the day. We want them to go out and deal with the issues that matter. I said, okay, great. So I'm going to go out here and deal with black people because I care about black people. Back at that time, being black was not as popular as it is now. Like, now everybody want to be black. At that time, it wasn't like that. The stuff I'm saying right now was considered incredibly radical at that time. And maybe some of it is, I don't know. But I remember I started speaking on black stuff, and I was doing it better than anybody else. I was the most famous professor on that entire campus, other than maybe one guy possibly, but I think it was close between he and I. And so I'm killing it, right? I'm going on national TV. Everybody knows me. I'm getting shout outs from Cornel West and Michael Eric Dyson and the civil rights leaders and all those other people I don't really talk to anymore, but they were all showing respect. So you would think that they would say, okay, we got this black guy here. He's doing what we asked him to do. He's doing a good job at it. He should be rewarded for that. It wasn't like that. Because the thing is that when you're black, the rules kind of change. Like white people have a hatred for black people that even they're not aware of. So in Syracuse, think about this. This is where racism is very confusing for a lot of us. That's why you have to read books like Powernomics and Black Labor, White Wealth, so he can help you understand what you're dealing with. I thought that leaving the South, I thought the racism was in the South. I thought that if you left the South, because I left Louisville, Kentucky. Breonna Taylor's in Louisville. I left Louisville because of the racism. Like Muhammad Ali left Louisville at 18. I left Louisville at 18. So I left Louisville to go north, thinking people in the north were going to treat me better than people in the South. That's fucking bullshit. That is just not true. They did not treat me better than the people in the South. Some of them treated me worse. Ain't nothing worse than a goddamn white, liberal, racist son of a bitch who thinks that they have the right to tell black people what to think. They feel they have the right to tell black people who to be. And I'd be talking to some white feminist who would say, like, I said something to a lady. I said, there's a lot of economic inequality in the black community. And I really love to kind of address that. And she said, no, well, that's not important because race doesn't matter. What we really need to focus on is poverty. We need to fix poverty. And then sexism is a real problem and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wait a minute, you mean I got to fix poverty? I got to solve the problem of all poverty before I can actually solve problems for black people? Are you kidding me? Right? It didn't make any sense to me. So I'm up there and I'm doing this black stuff. I'm speaking my truth. I'm attacking the issues in an intelligent way. You can't say I'm not intelligent. You can say I'm an asshole, but you can't call me stupid. I'm not a stupid asshole. I'm a smart asshole. So I'm a smart ass, not a dumb ass, but I might be an ass. It's okay. I'll accept that part. But I was really addressing issues that mattered to me, and I couldn't understand why I was getting so much pushback. And then that's when I realized, I said, the only way I'm going to really be able to be a scholar and be free is if I free myself from the fact that these sons of bitches are paying my bills. And here's the other thing too. When I was also dealing with that and I was speaking my truth, I had to deal with the fact that I was blackballed. I mean, here I was. Pay attention now. They feed you this diversity nonsense. Like, oh, we can't find qualified African Americans. Like the Wells Fargo CEO said, they can't find enough black people who are qualified. That's bullshit. Y'all know that's bullshit. There's plenty of black people that are qualified. Well, Syracuse should say the same thing. Universities would be like, oh, we can't find black people who are qualified to teach here. They're not smart enough to get PhDs or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm standing right here. I got my PhD. I worked under some of the greatest people on earth. I was number one. I was top of my class. Like, I'm really good at what I do. And in almost every case, I would be the perfect candidate for the job. When I applied for a job, I would always be the perfect candidate. And they would tell me that during the interview. And then they would Google me, and they would see that I was actually a person who was very outspoken on race. And then suddenly they would say something really ambiguous like, well, we just don't think you're a fit for the department. Like, what does that mean? Like, why am I not a fit? Well, we just don't think you're a fit. What the fuck does that mean? Like, give me some specifics. No specifics, because they don't owe you an explanation. So rather than being upset about that, I said, I get it now. The key for the black man to be free is the black man must learn how to build his own institutions and his own systems. That is the only way the black man can be free. The black man will never be free if the white man is controlling the key. You will never be free if they hold the key. You will never be free if they hold the key. So if they tell you we want to liberate you by giving you more jobs so you can come and work for us more often, then you's a dumbass if you think that's your key to freedom. That is the way they can give you the semblance of freedom, but they keep you in check. They're giving you the illusion of freedom by talking about things like inclusion. We're going to have inclusion. We're going to have diversity. And we're going to blah, blah, blah. We're going to let some Negroes in. And then what they do is they let in a couple. But these institutions are not big enough to hold all of you. They're going to do a Jackie Robinson on your ass. They'll hire 1 or 2 token Negroes, and the white people will maintain control and ownership. And so they get to decide the direction of the institution. Their culture matters, not yours. And then when the masses of you come in and apply for that same opportunity, 99% of you will be booted out the door. There is no place for you. Their house is not big enough to hold all of you. The number one problem that white people had when slaves were released, and these were Northerners, these were not just Southerners, because they treated black people terrible after slavery. Their biggest problem was they said, we only got so many jobs. Like, how are we going to let these Negroes come up here and take all of our jobs? That's why they started lynching black people up north. They were like, no, Negro, we don't want you to be a slave. Like, we don't hate you enough to make you a slave, but we don't want you here. And if you go look at how some of like the liberal folks in like, wealthy places like San Francisco and stuff, that's how they roll. They're like, we don't like homelessness. So when they go to them, they say, well, we're going to build an apartment complex that's low income right next to your suburb. They're like, oh, no, we don't want that here. We don't want those people around us. We just don't want them to be homeless, but we don't want them near us, right? At the end of the day, a lot of human beings don't want to share. A lot of human beings just don't want to share. They don't want to share power. They don't want to share resources, none of that. So some of that shit, you just got to go take it. Sometimes you just got to go and go toe-to-toe, eye-to-eye, make sure they do right by you, and maybe even fight to get what's yours. Now, I don't believe that you have to fight with blood, though. I don't believe you have to show up with a gun and cock and squeeze on somebody. What I do believe, though, is that we need to create economic super soldiers in our community. We need to have systematic processes through which millions of black children become absolute masters at the acquisition of resources. Like when they sit down and they're doing business with you, people will just get scared because they will know that they're dealing with somebody who's gonna be able to make a deal that works in their favor. It'll be like a 17-year-old rapper sitting down with a 55-year-old Jewish executive who's done 1,000 deals like this. That ain't a competition, right? Like, I think that our kids, I think that if we just really, as parents, and this is where it has to start with the family. Like, the one institution I'm leaning on is the family, because every time I'm talking to you, most of y'all got kids, or you're going to have kids, so you're the head of an institution, right? So what I'm doing is I'm talking to all of you. All of you are like college presidents in my mind, and I'm talking to all the college presidents who have their kids in the house, and I'm appealing to you, and I'm saying, let's make all of our kids into super soldiers economically. Like, let's make sure basic things, basic shit. Write it down if you have an ink pen, because you can write this down. It's a very simple model. And remember, that's where my PhD comes in, is I can give you a very simple process that will solve 90% of this problem. Number one, make sure your child owns shares of stock on a consistent basis at a very early age. The minute they're born, you should bring them into the world with shares of stock, and you should autopilot, auto-deposit money every week or every month for them to own more and more stock, so that as time goes on, that money will grow like weeds grow, stock grow, wealth goes really fast if you're consistent with it. And so you have 20, 25 years. And by the time that child is 20, 25 years old, they're in a position where they'll never have to depend on a white person for a job ever. They can quit any job they want. They have complete total freedom because they got $250,000 in the bank, and their friends can't even raise $200 to fix their tire, right? Number two, every black child should know how to own real estate at an early age. Just the basics, nothing fancy, just common cultural values like owning is better than renting, right? A lot of folks don't even know that. They get to adulthood and they're like, oh, I want to get me an apartment. Well, smart kids, like a lot of my friends, like I like to stereotype. I got a couple homeboys from Jamaica, and they became property owners at 21 years old because their parents said you should own property as soon as possible. That should be your number one priority. Number 3, every black child should know how to start their own business by the age of 12. Just, the same way you send them to football camp, basketball camp. I said this to Ice Cube, and I'm hoping I'm gonna keep on trying to get him to get help me with this idea. But I said, why don't we set up some training camps for black kids to learn about wealth and economics and money and everything else? Same way they go to football camp and basketball camp, and there's thousands of these camps everywhere. Maybe there should be at least hundreds or dozens at least of these little economic training camps all across the country, so that black kids can all know how to start businesses. So they're just sort of thinking in that way by the time they get to a certain age. If we do that, then what will happen is that all of our kids will just think different. All of our children will be in a position where it's going to be really hard. It's really hard to victimize and exploit somebody that's very well educated, that loves themselves, that has a lot of confidence, and also has economic skill that most people don't have. You can't. It's really hard to pull a rope-a-dope on them, right? It's hard to trick somebody. Like you can't really go to a lot of like if you look at a kid that grew up in a Jewish family where they really care about money and wealth and they talk about that all the time. You can't walk up to him and just trick him out of $100,000 or get him to sign a stupid contract or get him, to be a victim of predatory lending or whatever. Those things are most easily done on people that are most vulnerable. And when I see people that say, well, we're vulnerable, my next question is, well, why are you vulnerable? The reason that you're vulnerable is because whoever you assigned to protect you was not doing their job. You live in a very predatory world. The world is a really horrible fucking place. People will come and take your shit and beat your ass and care nothing about it. Don't nobody out here love you. So this idea of looking at liberals and saying, oh, we just want you to love us, acknowledge us, paint Black Lives Matter on the street. Why the hell do I care if you fuck up your street telling me that you love me when really somebody should have told me that when I was younger? Like, why the hell do I need love that bad that I'm looking to a predator to tell me they love me so they can fuck me in the ass? That don't make no damn sense. Seriously. So I'm saying that a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about really comes down to self-love, self-confidence, which is connected to self-love, by the way. If you love yourself, you don't need other people to love you as much. Preparation, right? Just, like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And a little bit of intelligence. It's not rocket science. And so the other thing that's interesting too, where I think this gives you hope, is that I honestly will say it's pessimistic but optimistic at the same time. I don't really think the whole black community is just going to grab onto all this and move forward. A lot of people think I'm weird, or they just think I'm rude, and they're probably right. I'm very weird and I'm very rude. And so a lot of people aren't going to listen to what I'm saying, but you're listening for a reason. So what I really want to say to you is that the bright side of all of this is that there's absolutely nothing. Like America right now, Trump president, Biden president, don't even matter. America as it is right now is a place, and some of y'all live in other countries and it might be the same thing there. It is a place where if you make the right decisions, you can end up in the right situations. A white man will never stop you from reading a book, right? A white man will never stop you from starting a business. A white man will never stop you from taking care of your damn kids. Right? A white person cannot come in and do the things that a white person could have done 200 years ago. So at least work with what you have and be smart with what you have, and do not trust these systems, because these systems are designed very well to benefit somebody, but the person they're designed to benefit is not you. The people that they're designed to benefit, they're going to benefit them, but they're designed not to benefit you. They're designed to exploit you. So you are a very important part of the system. America needs you. America loves you the way I love my car if my car drives me to work every day, right? So America really needs you. That's why they don't want you splitting off. They don't want to hear about you building your own. They don't want to hear about you leaving the system. Because if you leave the system, then who can we get to be our employees? If you leave the system, then who can we get to rent the apartment buildings that we own? If you leave the system, then who can we get to buy the consumer products that we're selling? We're selling all kinds of bullshit. We need somebody dumb enough to buy the damn bullshit, right? So don't get mad when they don't give a permission slip for you to be empowered. Don't get mad because white people are not cheering for you when you decide to finally take care of yourself. Don't get confused when the Democrats scream and holler and get pissed because you suddenly are demanding something for your vote. That's what they're supposed to do. If somebody's using you and you suddenly say, you can't use me anymore unless you pay up, then of course they're going to get mad. They're going to be like, God damn it, I'm used to paying. I go and I buy this coffee. This coffee is normally 25 cents, and now you're charging $2.50. Well, fuck you. You're robbing me, right? And they're going to get mad. Expect that, right? So then you say, okay, you can be as mad as you want to, but I really want you to drink the coffee. It's just you're gonna have to pay full price for it. Well, no, that's not right. And why are you messing up? We got a good thing going on. I used to get the coffee for 25 cents. No, I'm not saying you can't have the coffee. Well, why are you denying me coffee? I didn't say I'm denying you coffee. Well, why don't you want me to drink the coffee? I didn't say I didn't want you to drink. I really want you to drink it, but it's gonna be $2.50. It's not 25 cents anymore. And if you can't pay $2.50, then fuck you. Right? Seriously. So when we talk about voting, if you want to know where my mindset is, and people say, well, why are you telling black people not to vote? You guys know I've never told anybody not to vote. Do what you want to do. Why would I tell you what to do? I don't do that, right? When people say, well, why don't you want black people voting? I said, no, I want everybody voting. I want all of us to vote. We can vote twice if you want to, right? Or if you could, if it's illegal, don't do it because it'll get you in jail. But whatever, right? Like I've never said I don't want anybody to vote. Well, why are you saying that you won't vote? I never said I won't vote. I simply raised the fucking price. I just raised the price. I just said, I will vote for you. I want to vote for you. I want this to work, but I'm raising the price. I need you to pay up. If you pay up, then we got a deal. We can be friends. So the same way you're asking me, well, why don't you want to be friends anymore? I'm asking you, well, why don't you want to be my friend? My God, I would love to get online and talk to 100,000 people and tell them how great you are. I would love to be able to go on my podcast and say, oh my God, I had a conversation with Mr. Biden today, and he showed me proof that they're going to move forward with a reparations plan in the first 100 days, and I really believe it. They got good people in place that I trust. I want you guys to go vote for him. I want to do that, but I am not a whore. I am not I'm not Cardi B. My vote is not a piece of WAP. I'm not gonna give this to you for no $5. You got to earn it. If you earn it, you can have it. If you don't earn it, then fuck you. You think I'm disrespecting you by speaking my mind? No, you're disrespecting me because you don't want to pay. You want something that's very expensive and you want to get it very cheap. You tell me my vote is sacred? Well, then if it's sacred, then prove it. If it's sacred, then that means it's valuable. Sacred, valuable means you must pay for that. If you try to get it cheap and free, then that means you don't respect the sacredness of my vote. That means you are the one disrespecting my ancestors by asking me to give you my vote for free. You are the one who is guilty of everything that you're saying I'm guilty of right now, because you're just mad because I'm not trying to be a whore. Because here's the deal. I'm going to say this and I'm going to be finished in a minute. We've given you 10,000 chances. We have given you more chances than you would ever give us. I can't imagine a situation where we could fail you 50 straight years in a row on all the key issues that matter to you, and you still believe in us. Something about us is either incredibly persistent or incredibly stupid or whatever it is, or really forgiving, because we have given you the same chance for 50 years. And I know black people who will give you chances for another 50 years because they're not going to change their behavior no matter what. You can go pee on them, pee in their mouth like R. Kelly, and they still going to show up and vote for you. Fine, fuck that. But that's not what you're going to get here, because I'm not a person who does things that don't make any sense to me, because I'm breaking the umbilical cord and I'm breaking my connection and dependence on you as the person who should be telling me what to think and what to do. That relationship is over and done. It ain't happening here. So that's why you will never hear about somebody from the Biden campaign coming on my podcast, because they know they got easier targets out there. Why would a man go try to get some from the good girl with high self-esteem when he's got a bunch of raggedy hoes ready to give up the WAP for $1.50? You know, like why would he even waste his time? So some of y'all ladies go through that. Some of y'all ladies have standards, and y'all know we got a lot of women out here that ain't got no standards, and you think the hoes are winning because the hoes get all the attention. Well, I'm just going to tell you, there are some men who don't want to pay the price for whatever it is that you're offering. They don't want to step up to the plate. They don't want to do the hard work. And so what you're doing is you're just thinning out the herd, and that's actually a good thing for you. But it gives the impression that quantity is the same as quality. Quantity is not the same as quality. So the hoes get a lot of attention, but the hoes are not winning because you listen to the hoes come back talking about my boyfriend shot me in the ass, or my man was cheating on me, he got 8 babies mamas, or he beat me up yesterday. Well, that's because they're attracting a lot of quantity, but they're not attracting quality. The men you eventually attract are going to be men who have made a conscious decision that they want to step up to the plate and climb the ladder that is necessary to reach the goodness that you might have in store for him. That's just what it is. It's a lonely place to be. Having standards is a very lonely process. People gonna call you stuck up. They're gonna make fun of you. They're gonna laugh at you. They're gonna attack you. Think that you being too picky, right? That's just what it is. I get that all the time. Like, well, Dad, why are you being so harsh? Why are you being so? No, I just have standards. I would like for you to have standards too, but if you don't have standards, then fine. I'll just sit up here all by myself, and maybe someday somebody will earn my vote. And if they don't, then that's okay. I'm sure there's plenty of cheap Negroes they can go buy right now. Go do that. You go do that. That's what I might do. I would probably do the same thing if I was in your position, so I don't even halfway blame you. So anyway, I'm going to go. Hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please take 1 second, hit the thumbs up button. You can follow me on Instagram at @TheRealBoyceWatkins. Also, the Powernomics Masterclass starts on October 15th at 2 p.m. Me and Dr. Claude Anderson. If you'd like to come to the Powernomics Masterclass, just go to PowernomicsMasterclass.com. That's PowernomicsMasterclass.com. Use the code word Black Panther. One word, not two, Black Panther, and I think that'll give you 30% off. I'll double check and I'll make sure it works. So feel free, PowernomicsMasterclass.com. I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. Thank you for listening, and sorry about all the yapping, all the weird sound in my teeth. It's because I'm doing my dental work, but I will be like this for a few more weeks. So I hope y'all can bear with me, and it's been the best move I ever made. So I encourage you to do the same. Take care of your teeth. It's really important for your body. I'll see you soon. Love you. Talk to you later. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.